That's what I mean, is even though the in-game timer starts at the beginning of the cutscene, it's only like 7 seconds difference, so I wouldn't worry about it too much on the leaderboards until, well, people start threatening to take world records, then that discussion can be had. I don't need that right now. What I could use is water, though. Which I think I'm gonna fetch some water during the opera cutscene. Also, welcome everybody to Parasite Eve. Hopefully you're having a nice time wherever you are at, day or night. We are in the middle of using a pickaxe to scrape off the rust. The last time we played this, we got like a 317 or something. That being said, we're not chasing world record right now. We're just trying to kind of get ourselves de-rusted and employ some marathon safe strats. So... and possibly brainstorm new ones. You could press start there to immediately go to end, and then you just have to press X. You can actually do that menu much, much faster, but that's just, you know, practice. I'll be back in a few. Alright. Remember that the king was right the entire time. I mean, if they had just ran her through with the pike right now, or lit her on fire, this would have happened. And I really need to shave. So I'm going to be focusing more on like just giving little mechanical tips more than anything else right now, since we got a couple people trying to learn the game. I don't think people really care too much about as much my game insight or anything like that. I am planning on covering that a little bit more when I do a run at RPG Limit Break, but since you guys just got off watching most of the game, I don't think you need to hear me talking about certain things. I just noticed that there were 2 of the same woman running away, and there's 3 of the same guy on the lower balcony there. It may seem weird that I say that now, but I haven't actually paid too much attention to the background models in this cutscene. It looks like they recycled quite a few guys and girls. I also just saw the 3rd and 4th of that woman that I mentioned. It's like an elderly woman with a braid bun hair and like black arm gloves, whatever you would call them. Alright. So you'll see I'm kind of moving at square angles. That's because these trigger points are all flat lines. So for example, moving at an angle there would be slower than me just moving completely left. Because it's a flat trigger point. If it's a circle trigger point, like it goes around in a radius around the object I'm trying to trigger, then it can be better to move diagonal. But the vast majority of things are actually flat. So, it may seem weird that I'm just running up and kind of like mashing X, but it is on purpose. And it mainly has to do with the fact that you don't get BP from this fight. She doesn't even do particularly high damage, so... Good fight. It is possible to 4-cycler, or rather 3-cycler. Or sorry, it's possible to 4-cycler if you crit every single attack. More often than not, though, it turns into a 5-round fight. It is possible if you get no crits to get a 6-turn fight. But yeah, that's something that you can keep in mind, is that it's kind of okay to take hits in Eve fights as long as you're going to survive. Because she won't give you BP. Here we would just move immediately right. Once again, because of a flat trigger point. So here we're going to come up to probably one of the first optimizations I can say. And once again, it's just a realization of what is a trigger point and what's not. So a lot of people run towards like the center of the halls in these areas, when I can just hold up here. I don't need to go to the center of the hall. Like, the game will take me to the next screen. It doesn't care one way or another. Oh man, apparently my online security is incomplete. Thanks for letting me know, AVG. Once again, Squaresoft showing that mutant rats that are filled with evil and magic are in every single opera, according to them. Continuing the long tradition of freakish rat monsters attacking you in FF6. But luckily with no sign of Ultros. So this fight is deceptively annoying because of stuff like that, where the rat can just decide to slightly move out of your range. So I'm turning on analog here because I want to mash OK while moving, and this is an angle that you can't cut on a D-pad. Okay, yeah, we got that again. You need to move slightly out from that door, because if you don't, then you're going to get caught on the door edge. This is another example of triggering cutscene. So a lot of people will move down and right to where they entered the room from, according to the game. But the game actually doesn't care how you leave this screen. That's why holding right is more optimal. Here's another flat trigger point. A lot of people will run towards even the piano. You don't need to. You run straight up. So this fight, You can definitely play it safe. She tends to stop twice, like she'll go to someplace, stop, and then go to someplace and stop, and then she'll do her attack. You can play it really safe by letting her start her shot, or you can follow her. The danger of following her is if you get close to her when she's about to attack, she can slap you, which does a lot more damage and much harder to dodge. Okay, 1 crit's good. 2 crits is good. Shoot, okay. Wow, she moved a lot there. 3 crits is good. Wow, she is moving a lot more than normal. Oh, well. So all you're trying to do, if you're trying to get these intermediate shots, like when she's still moving around, is you're trying to kind of occupy as much space as possible, like threaten as much area as you can. I have no idea where I split for here, so I'm just doing it. You can definitely take that fight safe, though, and just wait for her to shoot and work off of that. But as you get better and better, you'll learn to, like, understand how you can move in such a way that you threaten the most area possible. So even if she does move, there's a good chance she'll move into your attack range and you'll hit her. Once again, turning on analog so I can mash OK while doing this. If I didn't have analog on and I was mashing OK, I would start to walk. So that's why I do that. I didn't really take a lot of damage, but for safety, I'm going to go ahead and take a heal here. Actually, I'm not going to take a heal here. I'm going to take a heal after this battle. Because otherwise I wouldn't have the MP anyway, or the Parasite energy, so. Bad HEB starting gauge. It'll work out okay. Frogs are enormous jerks. I don't really have any tips for you on them. You just gotta get used to hitting this one. Same idea with the rats as for Eve, though. You want to try to threaten as much space as possible for them. If possible, you want to try to hit the frog in the mouth. Obviously, that's not always going to happen, because sometimes he jumps behind you. If you attack him from the back, you need to be closer than you would think, is my best tip for you. So there's some visual cues you can use here to get to this item box. If you were to go straight up, where the second shadow starts is where you could turn right. If you have the analog stick, I've never really had a great way of planning this out, so I just kind of go with it. Luckily, having the analog stick allows you to mash OK, so that tends to work out alright. Same issue here. This is the only thing you need for marathon safe strats. I'm going to take this as well. It's sometimes a range, sometimes it's PE. You want PE. I'm also going to try to get a medicine out of this chest. This one's really annoying to get. I hate getting it. Fortunately, I got ammo. We're good. Had to think a second there. What's up, Epic? So 3 to 4 shots here, depending on crits. Okay, that was good. But it doesn't necessarily save me time, unless these are crits as well. Okay, they are not, so we didn't get a time save there. If both of those die in 3 shots, then you get a time save because you don't have to reload. But since it was not, I do not get that luxury. So normally, for the marathon, I probably would save there. It's extremely rare, but sometimes Crocodile just goes Skynet on you. It just destroys you. Hopefully that doesn't happen here. So Gator is kind of a finesse fight. You're going to hear me counting, and what I'm doing is I want to stay towards the left until I'm done counting, which is on a 3 count. After that 3 count, then I want to cut to the right. And if I do it correctly, that manipulates him so that he shoots his waves in such a way that I either dodge through them or they are completely away from me. One of the two. Ideally, you want to get either 1 or no crits on this. If you get a +2 to offense, you want no crits. The reason for that is if you don't crit, you'll kill him in 6 shots, which means your clip is empty and it auto-refills for the next phase. So here's what I'm going to do. 1, 2, 3. I had to stop there for a second. 1, 2, 3. Wow. That did a lot of damage. 3. So getting hit there was really bad because that made it so that he had another opportunity to kill me, which was unfortunate. That was also on the really high end of damage he could do to me with his tail attack, I think. Okay. Flame breaths, which is good. And you can play really aggressively here against him. Damn. Okay. So what I was kind of miffed about there is because he moved slightly out of range of me, so I got a glancing blow on him. I don't think that affected the fight because I got so many crits on that fight. You lose a turn, or not lose a turn, but you cause yourself to not need a turn of attacking if you get 1, 3, and I don't think 5 works, but 1 and 3 crits. After that, you're not really gaining time or gaining turns. That's not really super important when you're talking about just starting out for this game, but it's important to realize that, like, you don't always need to crit, and you don't always have to go for crits. Because sometimes the crit isn't going to matter. Sometimes you just need to hit. Once Daniel goes ahead and hits the shift, you're fine to rest. Any questions on day 1 to cover? Hopefully that was expansive enough. Sub 19 is definitely possible, but very difficult to get. At least on PS2, 77K. I don't know about faster versions. I don't know if an 1830 is at all on the table, because you'd have to get, like, perfect everything. Alright, day 2. Day 2 has a lot of stuff. Emu runs faster or slower? I have no idea. I thought you said you have a 75k. 75ks are generally a slow version of the PS2 from what I understand. 77k I've heard can be as fast as a 90k. It just depends on the game. 90ks are obviously the goal. Right here, I'm listening for audio cues. And what those audio cues are Aya's footsteps. Because I can tell... Basically, you can get close to where your exit is in those screens before the screen even visually loads. So, yeah. It's nice to know what to be listening for. In the case of the investigation room, going into the chief's office, I'm either holding down left or up right, depending on which way I'm going out. I listen for 2 steps, and then cut either left or up, depending on which way I'm going. So let's say I was going to the chief's room. I would go down left, listen for 2 steps, and then hold left on the D-pad. And it sounds like a small thing, but it really isn't in this game. In this game, your ability to know which direction you need to hold before a room visually loads is very important, because you're losing out on 2 to 3 steps every time that you don't know which way you want to go. Yes, about a second, Hikari, for every screen. Okay, so in my notes, I have that I'm supposed to do some menuing here. That's really not that necessary right now. I need to move slightly to the side here or else I get caught on that plant. That will hold true when I'm leaving this screen also. When you're leaving this screen, you have to move slightly right or else you get blocked by an invisible hitbox. Check out Ben, all flamed up. Blood for life. The cop dad. So I'm holding off on doing some menuing here, like breaking down my guns and transferring it over to the M16. Because I kind of want to do that all at once. If I had to... If I had to go ahead and throw away the Kevlar vest because I accidentally put it on, or grabbed it, I would go into store equipment, and during the time I throw away the Kevlar vest, I would also throw away my end vest. But since I didn't need to do that, I'll be doing that later when I throw away the mod permit as well. Yeah, there's some pretty sketchy hitboxes and collision boxes in this game, but it's fine. Probably the worst one, in my opinion, is the collision box on the T-Rex's bite. I've been to the point where he's, like, stopped all of his bite animation, then it still hit me. I had it highlighted. Pretty absurd. Scorpion tail attack hitboxes are also pretty sick. Okay, that was bad. I tried to turn on my analog stick there and it didn't. Which is a shame. Damn shame. So on the map to New York, you can also do something similar, moving before it fully loads, if you know where to go. I'm a little more leery of that one because making a mistake on that costs you tons of time, obviously, comparative to how much it saves. So, day 2 is a point where analog actually helps quite a bit. Like, this angle is impossible on a D-pad. There's also going to be that exploit of mashing OK while using the analog stick in this next screen. I guess exploit's the wrong word, but you're, again, able to run while mashing OK rather than getting this stutter step walk. It'll be right here once I gain control. Right here. So better to run to the stairs there than to wait for him to prompt you to put in your name. That was a mistake in Dream's 309 run that he since doesn't do anymore, but it is a noteworthy difference. That's another flat trigger point, so it doesn't matter if you run directly towards Daniel or not. You have to get near him. Clamp using his old version of Photoshop on his malfunctioning CRT. Well, what Dream was trying to do is he was thinking maybe it would trigger on its own, so it'd be better to sit next to where you sign in. But it turns out it is not. So it should be noted that as far as I know, it's Dream who came up with swapping random and spread on your gun for T-Rex and Triceratops, and that's actually a super sick strat. Saves like 30 to 50 seconds. It's kind of hard to gauge exactly how much it saves. But it definitely does save quite a bit of time. Okay. So that was an example of moving far before the game intends you to. Daniel moving, approaching the speed of light. Yeah, lights don't streak like that when you're going the speed limit or anywhere close to it. This one I move a little bit more because you have to be near the doorknobs here to activate. But you just go straight up here. Please. Go. Alright, so a little bit of menuing. So as I mentioned, we're going to combine some menus here. We need to drop the mod permit, tune up, equip weapon, and equip armor. And we're doing it in that order because we want to get rid of the M19 out of our inventory so that the M16 is the first weapon on our list. And when the M16 is the first weapon on our list, we can just mash through the equip, so it's a little bit faster. But we'll see if I actually do it correctly. Obviously, being away from a game tends to butcher your menuing more than anything else. Whoops. I also forgot to move this up. So slower than I would have liked by quite a bit. I probably lost about 3 seconds there. but that's alright. Figure it out. Main thing is we did everything we needed to. So I mentioned that day 2 is really strong for the analog stick strats. We're going to see the first one here. Well, one of the first ones. Obviously, there's a couple in the station that I use. But in the second screen here, we're going to cut an angle that, again, is impossible to do on a D-pad. Here's the angle. Picking this up on the chance that it's a medicine. Not. But as you can see, a lot of this is just gambling on chess. So I want to try to drag the snake as close to the transition point as possible, and that's so that I can more quickly leave the screen. That's an analog specific angle as well. I think that saves time, but not much. Like, there's certain angles that can save about a second. Alright. First encounter with birds. So this is actually kind of an interesting fight, because if you end too close to where you want to go in this fight, then the game actually reloads this screen and teleports you back, which is kind of hilarious, but ultimately extremely bad. So that's why I don't end right next to the transition point. Come on, get in there. So I've been trying to implement using the analog stick here to perhaps save time, but it's never worked. Like, I just wasted some time there trying it out. Alright, we're gonna make a save here, once again using marathon safe strats. There might be an analog-specific movement you could do here, but I think the D-pad does a fair enough job doing what you need it to. However, I will turn it on in this next screen. Okay. It's unfortunate, but that's why we make a save here. So if I was going for attempts, I would not be making this save, obviously. But since there's no way I can world record off of these strats I'm going to be using, fine. Okay, tool. So if you had the +2 offense, you would be able to one-shot these birds. Because I do not, I do have to shoot them twice. I'm gonna take a couple hits here, which is unfortunate, but not a lot I can do about that. Crit. Nice. So if you crit there... yeah, whatever. I thought about it and I was like, you know what, just take it all. I can menu out the junk afterward. Come on, bird. You know you want to do this. Bird just flying out of bounds. Like a jerk. So we're gonna wait up here for the snake. Or at least as much as we can. Yeah, you can't crit the birds there yet, Hikari. You would have needed to have an offense +2. If you did get an offense +2 in day 1, then you can do it there. And that's where some of the major time save of offense 2 comes from, is being able to crit in both of those fights. The next fight that we have with birds, we're going to have enough attack power to be able to do that normally. Another nice thing is if I got the +2, I could move my BP menuing closer to the boss, like get rid of one of them. So that's another place it can save time. But as it stands, since I got 2 +1s, I'm going to have to do an extra menu to use my BP. It's okay, though. Assuming that the strategy guide is correct, by the way, I've worked it out, and even if you had perfect fights against every enemy up to that point, you wouldn't have enough BP to be able to give yourself +1 to offense, which is unfortunate as well, as that would also be a way to save time, to just play perfectly. Another place where the analog OK usage helps. I'm pretty sure it would help here as well, but I don't know enough about how that place is shaped to guarantee it. So what I'm doing here also is sometimes you'll see me move at kind of a weird angle, and sometimes I'll move in such a way that I'll trigger Aya's pathing point as late as possible. This is what I mean by exiting through the stairs down there. That's actually a faster exit than going back the way you came. So if Aya needs to path somewhere, oftentimes she'll either walk or she'll do a slower run animation. So it behooves you greatly to try and run to that place as best you can. Otherwise, Aya will like auto path over there and it'll be terrible. Is. Okay. So this is another place where the analog comes in handy, is these angles. Since they aren't really angled that well, you can spend not a huge amount, but some of your movement can be spent kind of pushing into the wall, which isn't great. So that's where the analog stick movement really excels, is in these areas. Here's the menu that we could cut out had we gotten the offense +2. It's going to be coming up. Alright, so this is the first time that we get to be able to crit to kill, possibly. Here's one. So kind of important to try and dodge these, which I did a bad job of. But these birds are actually kind of dangerous. Shoot, I did not want to pick that up. Okay, this is kind of bad because at 51 health, snakes can easily poison us out. And I'm not 100% sure, but I think the bear can actually kill us if he lands on us. Would not be good. Now he definitely can kill us by landing on us. Please don't. Please don't? Okay, good. Okay. That's just being out of practice too. Like, there's no reason to pick up any of the gear there because there's no chance at medicine dropping. Crit. Nice. Crit there means you kill in one turn. Nice. No real medicine drops, which is unfortunate. Once again, we're going to have a marathon concession strat here. Right here. Normally, you would never have to pick those up. Alright. So the worm boss is really all about cycles, more than anything else. And it's, I think, the hardest boss in the game. Second hardest from a casual perspective, and hardest, in my opinion, for a speedrun. Because there's just so many things that can go wrong in the fight. Okay. Right. So we're loading down to 0. You can reload to 0 or full, either one. They have the exact same effect. Okay. I was gonna say that would have been a mistake if I had to use BP. If you play well, then there's a chance that you would have an extra BP point there. Okay, so... Damn. Okay. So because our ATB was kind of bad, we didn't get the first cycle on the worm. Ow. What a freaking jerk. Okay. That means the middle worm should be the one that's hurt now. Okay. Okay, that's one middle. One left. Two middle. 2 left. Shoot, that's not good. Okay. So because of how crits worked out, that was a little messy. Wow, 0 defensive upgrades. What a jerk. Usually that guy drops like 2 or 3 defense. What? Jerkhole. And you can really see how poorly that can go. Because I missed that first cycle on the worm to the side, it kind of threw off my timing on the other things. We had relatively poor crit luck on the middle and left sides, so because of that we got a double cycle with the big worm rather than a 1. Those things can combine to a lot of problems. Alright, so because I have 117 health, I can actually tank 1 to 2 hits from Eve. So I want to try to stay close to her to force her into her melee phase. But she didn't take it. So we stand in the center of the cart and then dodge based on that. If you don't stand in the center, if she shoots right on top of you, then you can't, like, you can avoid it, but you have to move very, very quickly. So it's way better to just stay at the center. Okay, good. So that's what we wanted to do. Okay, good. So we skipped 1 cycle there of the air phase. If you have over 100 health, you can try to tank 2 hits. And if your ATB is good and your crits are good, then you can be able to kill her without her doing a single air phase, which is pretty nice. Alright, take it easy, Jino. Not at all. I've seen... Dude, you can't imagine the terrible luck that I've seen on worms. Like last time I played this even, I had terrible luck because worms got a high damage range on its shot with 2 worms left. Sorry, with 1 worm left. I killed the second worm, the last worm shot 1, and it did like 59 damage or something. Just took away my revive. And then I had to revive into an attack from the large worm, which was pretty terrible. Yeah, Pokemon Red, the king. Actually, I would say Pokemon Gold is probably worse. Pokemon Red's pretty high up there, though. Get to Lance, get Hydro Pumped, crit. Stuff. So I actually would really like to go to the restroom, but none of these cutscenes are long enough. So I think I'm just screwed. For a very long time. So we didn't lose our revive, which is nice. Means I wouldn't need to go to the pharmacy. Like, it's not a requirement. I think for the purposes of a marathon safe run, though, I will make a stop at the pharmacy, though. I'm trying to think of where all that 210 came from. I had to do a reset, which was probably about 40 seconds. Then I had a bad worms fight, which was probably about 30 seconds lost. That's 110. And then 50 seconds of just other stuff going wrong. 4 crit luck on birds. Slower menuing. Taking a save as well. Taking a save's probably like 10 seconds itself, so I probably lost another 20 there. So this is basically, I guess what I'm trying to say is this is to be expected, that I'm 2 minutes behind at this point. Yeah, trash cans are pretty gnarly RNG. Maeda using his black magic for evil. Casts fire. This is true, Akari. That being said, I have also spent... I've probably spent times where I've had like 4 hours without a run in Parasite Eve because of either luck to the tool or Worms being a jerk and killing me. And I don't even want to talk about it, but Shining Force Neo had way worse than that even. I've gone like 3 hours without getting anything resembling a run started. Because that game's awful. Maeda watching his seizure cartoons. Or possibly another defective CRT. So it may seem that I'm being a little lax in mashing sometimes, and that's because this game... You want to mash as fast as possible sometimes, but other times there's an animation associated with the talking, so it really doesn't matter how fast you mash. You're gonna have to wait for it anyway. So now that we're out of day 2, any questions on day 2 at all that I can venture out, deal with? Day 3. Tres dios. Dias, I should. Alright. This guy. Alright, it's cool, B. Hopefully you picked up something that was of use. So you 100% have to go into the pharmacy, at least. You don't have to necessarily do anything in there, but you have to go in. However, that being said, I will be picking up some stuff in here. Again, we're working on a marathon route. So... there's our medicine 2, and I knew there was a medicine 3, but I couldn't remember where. Turns out it is over here. So those are going to cost us probably about 30 seconds, I want to say, to get. If I needed to, like I lost my revive, there's also a revive there that I could get. This is another marathon strat. We do not need range, but we will take it for this. We don't need this ammo either, but we'll take it. Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. There it is. Again, slow, but we need to get used to stuff. God, I hate that fire hydrant. This light pole also. Really, all the light poles and fire hydrants in this area are such jerks. Okay, good. That car trigger is kind of annoying as well. So I'm actually going to take a slight time loss here, about 10 to 15 seconds. I'm going to go to the restroom during the Maeda blood cutscene because, again, not world record pace, and I really need to go. There's a 40-second cutscene with Maeda's blood and a 26-second for Aya. Unfortunately, they are not back-to-back. If they were, I could take a nice little bathroom break. Nice. We didn't lose any time, really. All right. Epic's got jokes. He's got the yokes. Nice, we got the monitor skip. So, I have no idea how it gets triggered. But for some reason, sometimes you can skip that screen before Clamp comes in and turns off his computer screen. And if you do that, it saves about a second. I don't know how it works, but it happens every once in a while. Okay. Alright. This is a guaranteed fight. Nice damage. Nice. That was a really good fight. 2 rounds is very good. Usually it takes 3. So as I said, we're expecting to lose about 30 to 40 seconds here. Just from poor menuing and picking up the extra 2 medicines. We could potentially lose more depending on if we get extra hotspots. Okay, no hotspot there. That's good. Potential one here. Nice, didn't get it. This is a guaranteed fight. Nice. Getting rid of the rat there is real good. Okay, taking junk's fine. I'll definitely take that. Listening for steps. There's Warner. Yeah, 40 seconds. Assuming no hotspots. Okay. This one isn't guaranteed, but it tends to happen a lot, I think. So you might as well count it as a guaranteed one. A lot of damage taken that fight. Not too happy with. This fight up ahead can be skipped by running over the stage rather than in the center of the room. Anything else? Not bad. Not great menuing, but not bad. Again, cutting right there. This is analog specific. Okay, G19 to M11 after the dogs. Actually should have done that here, I think. Please all stay there. Pretty good, pretty good. Excellent fight. That's very, very good. Oh, I don't have a tool yet. Never mind. E19 break. Damn, that's not what I wanted. Oh well. Here's our tool. I'll hold off on using this tool until after this fight. This fight can be dangerous. Nice. Kind of a bad HEB for the spider. Which is good for me. Alright. Hoping for a good Shiva fight. We have really good health also, which is nice. You don't always have that to start. However, that can change very quickly in this fight due to Shiva's demi-roar, for lack of a better term. Okay. Nice fight. Okay. Please be dead. Not good. That's good. Alright. I was worried about a bite there. If he bit, then I could have had to have used my revive. That would not have been great. Should be dead. Excellent. Very good fight for Shiva. Tad bit questionable when I had 50 health, but it worked out. Very good Shiva fight. So I didn't really get to talk too much on that. A big part of the Shiva fight is keeping in mind that you have CM Vest too. Chemical Vests have a high Parasite energy defense, so the beam is actually the best thing that you can take. The Demi spell will always do half your life, so you're never in threat of getting killed from that. The bite is the main point of concern. If the bite hits you, it can do anywhere from like 50 to 80 points of damage, I want to say. So your kill range for your character is at about 70 HP. Once you have 70, you should be looking for opportunities to get hit by the laser beam or get body bumped to trigger your CM Vest. Obviously, you don't want to get a healing proc either, because that wastes at least one of your turns of time. But comparative to like taking a bite, I'd say it's preferable when you're first starting out in the game, just because again the bite has kill pressure. Getting healed just prolongs the fight. Once you start chasing like world record, obviously you'd rather have the bite and just hope it does the right damage to you. You also need to keep in mind that I have a lot more defensive ameliorations than I would have in a world record run, so I'm taking less damage than normal. I got a ton of armor upgrades. Fortunately, I didn't get any off of the worm, which is frustrating, but it's okay. So day 3 is in general pretty much a walk in the park, as long as you don't get like what the fuck crit by a wolf and a bird, which has happened to me before, or the wolf and the spider. And what happens there is if the wolf roars, it lowers your defense. And it lowers it quite a bit. So like if the wolf roars and either a bird or the wolf or both of them crit you, they can actually kill you. So, pretty dangerous. But as long as you kind of keep an eye out for that, there's not really too much to worry about outside of a bad Shiva bite. Day 4 is pretty relaxed as well. The main thing that'll kill you is not getting the micro Uzi. The spider can definitely drain your medicine out, though, if you get bad patterns on it, or you don't have haste. Either one of those is pretty bad. There aren't many boss AI manipulations. That is pretty true. You can kind of... For example, Shiva can't really move towards the bottom portion of the screen that often. So you can kind of manipulate her to do either her laser or her bark or something else by staying far away. Eve... The second to last Eve has a slight manipulation you can do to give you a more favorable pattern. What else? You can kind of manipulate scorpions because their tail attack is a counterattack more than anything else. So if you attack them and then move out of the way and then attack them, you can kind of stun lock them, which is nice. But yeah, basically what happened to you be if you didn't use haste or if you did use haste at the beginning, then it's just really unfortunate. If you didn't, then you should have, because that allows you to close the distance and potentially stop her from catching you in web. Sometimes you just get unlucky though with ATBs and she goes extremely fast and you just get caught in a web. Getting caught in a web is really bad in that fight. So we can move immediately left here. So this is a marathon safe strat. We pick up the medicine right here. This up. You make sure we move to the left side of this door so she opens it faster. As a general rule of thumb, you want to try to move Aya towards door handles for the most part. The reason for that is she'll path to the handle anyway, so you want to make it so that you're moving at as fast a speed as possible. This is a guaranteed fight. There's also a hotspot coming back through this room that's one of the worst ones in the hospital. That was bad luck. It was also kind of sloppy on my part, to be fair. The reason I say that is because if she would have picked only 2 targets or 1 target, I wouldn't have been hit by that. But because she hit all 3 targets, I ended up getting hit by it. That's my fault, though. In general, flies on their first turn, I don't want to say will always, but they have a very, very high probability of spitting acid twice. It's crucial that you dodge that acid because it has paralytic effect on it. Okay, so now we're at the point where we want to try to get rid of some of our medicine 1s. And the reason for that's very simple. Medicine 1 is just not that effective right now for what we need to do. And on top of that, they take up valuable inventory spaces for this place. You can lose a lot of time having a full inventory when you're trying to pick up a critical item here. How's it going, rat boy? Okay. This is not great. Okay. That's extremely nice, actually. It was highly probable that one of them was gonna move out of my range of my gun and make it not possible for me to shoot them. That was nice. So this is a bad hotspot, but you kind of want 1 or 2 hotspots when you're in the hospital because that makes it so that you get your haste. There's that double poison drop I was talking about. You need to be kind of careful of it because sometimes it'll hit you from further than it should. Me getting hit by the poison was, or the amiibo. Me getting hit by the amiibo was just me being careless. That's all there is to that. It's my fault entirely. Okay. So if you're going to do the safe strat here, then you want to use the card key first. And then go to the save room, which is basic strategy. If you save here, you can just hold down and run, and it gives you, not the best angle, but a pretty good angle on the door, which is nice. Alright, let's see if we have to reset here. M10, okay, that's a reset. So every time you have to reset here, it's basically 50 seconds. Okay. Actually, it's 50 seconds for the first one because you had to make the initial save. After that, I think it's like 30 or 40, something like that. And this happens. If you play this game, you gotta expect that this is gonna happen sometimes. It's just, you know, it's life. Shoot. Whoops. Yo. Thank you, Lord Spinal, for protecting us from the spooky skeletons. I get the feeling you can't pick up that fuse until it sparkles, or it would sparkle. I can't confirm that 100%, but I don't think I've ever picked it up before that happens. So unfortunately here, you do have to hold... So what I do is I hold upright and mash OK to get to the fuse box. You can't just look at it straight on because she won't trigger it. So unfortunately you have to watch that back and forth walking phase every time. Just unfortunate. Not much you can do about it. So despite having pretty good RNG in this area, as you can see, having to make a save and take the save can cost you a lot of time. Like, I would say that was a relatively good area, all things considered. And yet I still lost 2 minutes for resetting, I want to say 2 times? Either 2 or 3 times. And then some menuing, obviously, but you know, we're beyond that. You know, the menuing as a concept is the only thing that matters, and death as a concept is a big part of that. Wait, what? A little bit of a poor amiibo fight, but you gotta expect it on this one because of how spread out they are and how many there are that your random's gonna hurt you somewhat. I shouldn't have taken the heal there. I should have tried to have used a medicine, but it's okay. The reason I say that is because we're gonna have to pick up a couple items here, so it would have been much more beneficial to not have to deal with that. However, we took a hit there, so that's okay. What's up, Rat Boy? Rat Boy, throwing his fireballs. Move to the third tile here on the right, and that's just to have better pathing to this area. If you wanted to take the defense amelioration, on the left side behind that curtain, there's actually defense up. I want to say it's crit protection. Okay. Okay, that should be good enough. I think we're going to be good on inventory slots now for the rest of this. Because it doesn't look like we picked up too much junk along the way, which is nice. Also, you want to try to set yourself up for the poison drop, that it doesn't spread out all over the map. Or rather, the battlefield, whatever you want to call it. Okay. Dang. Unlucky. Never lucky. So this has been pretty nice as far as inventory management as well, because we haven't been getting a lot of Cure Poison, which can be a real hassle. Cure Poison can eat up a lot of your inventory slots. It's rather frustrating to deal with. We haven't been getting any paralytic recovery. It's like Cure M, I want to say. But once again, not a big deal, as long as we have a decent spider fight. You know, the rat boys with the prancing. Equal parts Michael Jackson and prancing. So the reason we managed our inventory before this room is specifically for this nurse. Because it takes forever to get her card key if you miss it the first time. There is a hotspot here. Okay, this is what I call the gauntlet. There's a hotspot there, a hotspot in this room, and a hotspot in the next room. So it's very possible to just lose 2 to 3 minutes in this section if you get bad hotspot luck. Getting one fight is okay here, because it helps you to get haste for later on. Any more than that, though, and it's kind of annoying. I misread how close that attack was to activating. Okay. Right? Yeah, nice job, Amiibo. Right. Nice, more ammo drops. Yes, it would have been more efficient to do heal times, or heal 2 twice, but yeah, I just didn't think I would have that much Parasite energy for some reason. There's a range up, or bullets, I want to say, in that back chest. Bullets would be a little bit nice, but it's just not worth our time. We have a big enough clip that it's not going to matter at this point. Oh my gosh, I found a way to dodge him. I've never dodged this guy before. He always ends up hitting me like that. B-Vest, that is not good. So we just took up an inventory slot for no reason. Unfortunate. Fact, since I need to, so I could have Parasite energy healed there, which would have been faster, but I want to keep my Parasite energy high for this next bunch of enemies. Because if I get into a bad situation, dang it, that was bad. Can I look at this quickly? Please look at this and work. No, it didn't. That's frustrating. Okay, so I just lost like 10 seconds or something. More than that, probably closer to 20. So that was... yeah, that was just me not paying attention. That wasn't anything on the game. I knew it was coming up. I was just too busy talking to be paying attention. Ugh, alright. So, as I was saying, we wanted to keep Parasite energy for this fight, because if we get a bad start and the mixed man yells, then we want to be able to energy shot him immediately. Yeah, killing the tumor there is the worst outcome. Okay. Hopefully this is enough, but I don't think it will be. I think he needs one more shot. Nice, okay, it was. So it's a little unfortunate that, you know, we are out of Parasite energy for this section, but that's okay. We'll get it back over time. tools in here. G3A3 is inside this treasure chest. This is pretty poor. Because yeah, we are going to be permanently slowed here, pretty much. Please kill him. Thank you. Didn't need to do that, but I figured since I was in the menu anyway, I'd do it. Yeah, the tumors are pretty terror. Very important that if you used Parasite energy, or even if you didn't, you have to save it in this fight. Because if you don't, then you aren't going to have enough to haste when you fight the way more important thing, which is Spider. It's important that you sort out your inventory there, because you're going to be picking up a junk guaranteed here, and then you need the key. There's just no way around it, so make sure you sort it before entering that room. Then if you're like me, I'm going to sort it immediately. Not immediately afterward, but once I go through the elevator. Because I'm going to need to get rid of the elevator key anyway. So I'm going to lose, I want to say, probably about a minute on this split. We had extremely bad mixed men luck as far as targeting. You know, nah. Yeah, never mind. It was really bad. I was thinking maybe it was just bad luck. Like, maybe it wasn't extremely bad. Nah, it was pretty terrible. We lost a lot of time. Bad targeting. That's why I kind of wish you had more freedom to use the energy shot, but unfortunately you really don't. Okay. What was I gonna do? I think that's all I needed to do, actually. Oh, I forgot to throw away the junk. So that was a really bad ATB. Luckily, she didn't have a great one either, so I was able to get off haste. And really, this is what you want to do. If all you need to do, or if all you do is take hits from her in melee, that's fine. Like, I will gladly trade hits with her. Because it is way, way worse to have her run away and potentially web or get a big fireball streak on you. So I will gladly take these hits. 1. And 2. Move into position so that we hopefully get... So we move over here so that hopefully we can get a better position for the cutscene to trigger. So there's not really a lot to talk about with the spider. It's just get haste going as fast as you can and just bum rush her. You can get screwed if she has a better ATB. If you don't have haste or she beats you to the ATB punch, I would say your best bet is probably to just unload a full strength energy shot into her if it's early in the fight. If it's later in the fight, you don't want to do that because you're not going to have enough time to regenerate your PE before the next phase. All that chili that he ate. Oh, coming up! I'm sure that there's a nice angle you can cut using the analog. I'm not 100% sure what it is. I'm just kind of guessing here. Yeah, that one worked out okay. In general, though, that area is pretty easy to run through, so the analog wouldn't help that much. So here we want to move close to the upper left, but not completely on the upper left, because Aya moves slightly backwards in order to pull the lever. Okay, nice crit. So because we have much better attack power than we did the last time we did a run, we were able to kill that thing in one round as opposed to two. Sometimes you have to do two. It did cost us a heal, which is unfortunate. Sometimes you don't always get what you want. Yeah, had I moved closer to that lever or not moved there at all, then I would have pathed to that exact spot. And once again, that's just one of those things where it's... One of those isn't going to really kill you, but over the course of a game, it'll probably save you about 30 seconds doing everything associated with that. What's up, Mura? How's Season 6 treating you? Nice. So you must be happy. Right now, Udir's pretty good. Right now being the operative term. See what happens in a little bit. Okay. Yeah, so that's 50-second time loss. And that's just because of those poor mixed men fights more than else. Alright. EPK G23. EPK G23. So now that we have haste, there's many fights where it's beneficial to just haste as your first turn. I do count these first couple fights as being part of that, and that's just because typically these will take at least 3 turns to finish off, just because you still have the random property on your gun. See, it still took 3. And 3 turns is kind of the benchmark for if haste is going to be worthwhile to cast. 3+ turns. So, especially for these first couple fights, I don't mind using haste at first. Okay. Good fights. Another place where analog helps. Just to be able to mash OK while you're going over there. This is a potential hotspot. And we got it, which is unfortunate, but expected. Out of the potential hotspots in this area, though, this is actually one of the more mild ones. Just because the enemies aren't particularly dangerous here, they don't have darkness, so it can't eat up a ton of your time. Just kind of more annoying than anything else. You want to move slightly to the left here, because Ai is going to path over there anyway. Like, it seems like she had to path towards Maeda. That's actually not true. She pathed to that location and then went to Maeda. Really silly, but consistently happens. Alright, so bats. Bats are kind of a hard thing to talk about because you don't want an energy shot because you want to save your parasite energy, but at the same time, if you get darkness, you kind of have to. Bad ATB here. I took kind of a roundabout way to do that fight. That's kind of poor. So I kind of want a Cure Poison in my inventory for Centipede. Marathon safety strat so that if he poisons me early, I will definitely use it. This is a great fight to get here, because I can do that and not even have to use haste. They also have a chance to drop medicine, which is extra good, so that was a really good encounter. The other encounter you can get there is much worse, and it's a double bat. Ooh, we skipped this encounter too, which is nice. So this is kind of what I was talking about when I was saying Dream had better luck than I did in the sewers. Is he skipped some of the worst encounters and got some of the better ones. Now that we have control of our gun, that was a little unfortunate. So that reload really hurt me. If I didn't reload there, I had a shot of ending that fight immediately. So it was a little bit of a gamble, but one that I was comfortable taking. No encounter here is nice also. Although this one's pretty easy. I think it's always a frog. Yeah, so far, day 4, this... RNG-wise, this might be the best day that I've ever done. So far. I'm actually kind of disappointed that I'm not going to be able to verify that with a gold split. We're just going to go ahead and take an energy shot here. We will definitely have at least one more fight, so we'll be able to use that fight to pool up Parasite energy for haste. The diabolical plan is revealed. Jello all up in our water system reservoir. So I'm going to try to make a separate save for Centipede so that I can go over it in more depth if need be. It's a pretty intense fight, so probably won't be able to commentate much. But hopefully you can get it. I guess I can talk a little bit about it right now. Main things to know about the Centipede fight. So the first thing you want to know is that you want to have enough for haste at the beginning of the fight. You want to make sure you're completely prepared. That means a full stock of ammo in your clip. You want to make sure you use all of your BP because it's a tough fight. So, like, make sure you're completely prepared. As I said, make sure you come into the fight with a haste prepped. Do your very best to not get hit by poison at the beginning of the fight, because that's typically what he does. If you do get hit by poison early, immediately use a cure poison, or on the worst thing, but it sometimes happens, you're going to have to use the detox inside of your PE menu. But if he poisons you early, like, it's like you just have to bite that bullet, because poison will do way too much work on you over the course of a fight. Always try to make sure you're at the Centipede's side, because it tends to shoot straight ahead of it, and it slowly turns, so you should be able to stay in front of it no matter what. This screen, go above this pole on the left. If you go above the pole on the left, then you'll end up on the upper platform. If you go below the pole, then you'll end up on the lower part of the platform. If you wanted to, you could hold on to some Pure Darknesses as well. That is also definitely something you could do. Because if you get darknessed early, obviously, that's another issue. Really, you don't want to be too far out of... after you use haste the first time against the worm, you don't want to use any more magic on phase 1, because you're going to start phase 2 immediately with as strong an energy shot as possible. Okay. This mole can actually do work on you, by the way, because he has this huge reach that goes way further than it should, and he does pretty good damage. Alright. So one thing that I need to do also before this fight is I need to clear up some inventory. Okay, everything's good. Alright, so I do have plenty of Parasite energy. So once again, prep for the battle, start with haste. If you get poisoned early or darknessed early, get rid of it immediately. Phase 2 starts, get an energy shot on the tail. Once you get an energy shot on the tail, if it's a full strength energy shot, you should finish it off in the next shot. Okay. So see how I'm staying on its side? It effectively has no great way of attacking me if I do that. Okay, that was a really bad position to put myself in, unfortunately. Okay. So that was partially my fault. Okay, he splits. Excuse me? Okay, I had to wait a second there, I guess. Immediately energy shot the tail so you don't waste any of the damage. Next shot sequence that I do should kill the tail. I'm going to use that tail's open area to create a safe zone for myself. Shoot, I missed. Okay, that's bad. So I'm going to go towards the tail. Just, if I need to, I'll take the hit. I just want to clear it. Now I've established a safe zone. With that safe zone, I'm going to focus on the body sections. And I'm going to try to get one of them. Okay. Now that I got two, this becomes significantly easier. If you get the opportunity to run into one of these safe zones, take it, like here. See? And that was a lot further back, but that allows me to kind of play more aggressively. Okay. See? It makes him have to travel way further in order to deal damage to me. And I can use that little extra split second of time to hopefully get myself out of danger. Ideally, they will jump in such a way that you have two open spots right next to each other, and that gives you all the space in the world to dodge. That doesn't always happen, though, so you just gotta be willing to try and roll with the punches and set yourself up. If you can't get a kill on a section, prioritize... Sorry, I'm trying to pay attention to something. I gotta switch discs. If you can't get a kill on something, prioritize heading towards a body section. Because I think they do the least damage, and I don't think they can poison you, although I'm not 100% sure on that. So those are probably the best tips that I can give on fighting Centipede. If you can't get a full strength energy shot off on the beginning of the fight for some reason, just do what you can. I would say your best shot in that case isn't to go for the tail, it's to kill one of the body sections, since you can kill one of those in 1 to 2 turns and create a safe zone for yourself again. Once again, it's all about safe zones. If you're playing on PS2, you should keep in mind that when you swap discs, you will be switched to analog. I have run into a bug where I just completely lost control of my character, even with analog on, which is unfortunate. But it seems pretty rare. It happened to me twice in a row for some reason, but I've never seen it happen again. So just, my suggestion in that is just make sure that your analog is indeed, you're using your analog or you turned it off. The bad HEB. Please kill. Didn't kill. Ooh, okay, good. Okay, this was a good fight to get. If I didn't get this fight, then I would have to be very careful going into the Scorpion fight, because it's very possible that I won't be able to get haste for some time in that fight, and he does a lot of damage. If that's the case, then when you go into the Scorpion fight, just, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. You just do the best you can, really. Get into the Scorpion fight. Try to focus on dodging as much as you can. Don't get hit by a big acid breath. You're not going to get to heal 3, so I think it's still probably a better option to try and get a haste off, and then conserve your MP to get into the next fight. That was my mistake. I didn't scroll down enough in my notes to be able to see where I was going next. So I lost a little time there. Alright, see you later, Alucard. Alright, so another big thing is after Centipede, there's a good chance you're going to get completely beat up. So be aware of how much medicine you have. If you can't heal, or if you can't... Okay, it's more important to have haste for this next fight. But if you can spare a heal, do so. Definitely use medicine if you have it available to bring up your health high. Because you're going to need a lot of inventory space anyway, and your low-level medicines aren't going to help you too much in this place. So I'm totally fine with getting rid of some of these. Be prepared to also use your BP and stuff before this fight as well, because again, this is a dangerous encounter. Especially if you don't get ambush as well, like I just did. Okay, so watch this. I shoot him, he counterattacks. Shoot him, move. Pay attention to which way he's facing. That's the way he's gonna sting. This is bad. Okay, good. So I cornered myself, which was a slight mistake. I wanted him to move a little bit more to the side before I did that. That's okay, though. Don't get cocky for this fight, either. You want to try to heal after the Scorpion encounter, because if this is Double Raptor can kill you as well. In general, I would say almost every single encounter in the museum, you want to try to use haste. Because there's just way too many of them that are going to require multiple turns to deal with. That was a really good fight. Skip that. Lizards drop junk, and for the most part, you're going to be extremely flooded with medicine, so don't worry too much about medicine, dropping and having to menu it out. Another big thing I would say is, even though it is good to try and not get junk, don't be averse to picking it up, especially when you're first starting out. The reason I say that is because it's, as long as you learn how to drop items rather quickly, you don't actually lose too much time from picking up a little extra junk. What you could lose a lot of time from is worrying too much about picking up junk. I'm mentioning this now and not in day 2 because this day is, and in particular in the museum, is where inventory management becomes really, really important. Your ability to maintain your inventory is extremely important in this day because this is the day where you get flooded with the most junk and the most medicine. So you want to get flooded in such a way that you get the medicine and don't get any of the stuff else that you don't need. So this is AI manipulation, but it's a very simple one. Whenever they start to roll, they will roll in that direction every single time. Well, not every single time, but they will continue to roll that way. So try to position yourself in such a way that you will hit multiple enemies when they do roll. Like this. This is actually one of the few times where spread really, really gets to shine. And you really get to see the power of spread. A bunch of medicines +4 is the best that you can get out of this encounter, and that's what I mean. Like, once you get past that initial Scorpion, or the first Scorpion and Double Raptor combo, you're going to get flooded with so much medicine that you're going to be fine. You don't need to worry as much about being low on health. Okay, that was kind of bad. So I'm kind of splitting up my shots here, and that's because these guys tend to die pretty easily. And depending on how they jump, they might put themselves in a position where spread isn't that good. See, I made a mistake there, picked up some junk, not a big deal. If I dwell on it, it's going to cost me way more time. And I'm going to be heading into my inventory at various times here anyway, so Way more important to just keep your cool. There's probably an analog-specific angle I could cut here as well. If you messed up and needed an extra tool, you could go down this ladder and go into the door, and you'd end up behind the statues in the first floor. Behind those statues is a tool that you can grab. That's like an emergency tool. There's also a chest when you go down that ladder that gives you offense +1, but offense +1 is not going to help you at this point in the game. Single Raptor is one of the few times where I would probably recommend doing an energy shot, but first thing I'm going to do is shoot him, because one energy shot is not going to kill him immediately. The reason why I energy shot, though, is because oftentimes, like he just did, he'll go right into the corner, and it'll cost you a lot of time running back to this side of the room. So... And then since I'm in my menu anyway, I'm going to use the G3A3 up. I believe that is the last tool that we can kind of throw away on increasing stats. The rest of them from this point on, I need to save for specific attributes. So once again, trying to move close to where we need to run to. Nice. How far in, dude? And is it any good? Is, I guess, the major questions that is on everyone's mind. Okay, this guy's rolling. Okay. Oh man, the raid! During the ending! Oh man. Crashes at the final sequence, 10 out of 10. IGN. So in the original route, energy shot was kind of used on these pterodactyls. I don't think that that's the correct thing to do. I think it's better to haste here. The reason for that is if you energy shot, you're going to be out of Parasite energy for the next few fights, which are significantly longer as a consequence of that. By using haste, we end the fights relatively the same time. It takes us 3 rounds, basically. Well, I guess 4 with haste. Although if you're hasted, obviously the turns go quicker. So it's basically you either take 2 turns with energy shot, or you take 4 turns of hasted action to kill it. However, if I energy shotted to kill off that pterodactyl, I wouldn't have haste for this guy. So I would be using 3 turns of unhasted combat. Oh wow, that was a huge damage range. Also pretty sloppy of me to get hit there. Okay. Particularly important for, So after this fight, there's a pretty dangerous fight that can occur that involves, I think, double raptor scorpion. This is another reason why I take this approach. Is double raptor scorpion is extremely dangerous damage-wise, and it's very unpredictable how much damage you're going to take. So we want to make sure that we have haste for it. So, sorry, I was actually mistaken. There's one more fight after this. Once I go down this, this drop, I'm going to have a fight with a pterodactyl, and then I'm going to get into the next fight. So if I used energy shot on that previous encounter or this one, there's a possibility that I would be pretty poorly set up for a double raptor scorpion fight. I just casually dropping down like 25 feet. It's okay, though, because mitochondria. Shut up, mitochondria. Yeah, I heard the Disgaea port's been having issues from a number of people. I wasn't sure how bad it's been. Okay. So far, I would say this has actually been going really well for a museum, considering this is a D-Rust. See, this is the fight. Okay, so it's only one raptor. So, you know, slightly wrong. But you get the point. Scorpions are dangerous. Ow, because of that. Wow, you didn't counterattack. What is this? The other possible encounter involves a pterodactyl, which I'd much rather take. Pterodactyls can darkness you, which is worse from a speedrunning aspect, but it's also fairly unlikely that they hit you with the darkness, so... Overall, a much more favorable fight if you're casually playing. So this is a situation where I would say you might want to not haste if you get the ambush proc. Since I didn't get the ambush proc, I'll still haste. If you get the ambush proc there, you can hit both of them instantly, and I think you can kill them in 2 turns. So, not bad. Let him roll. Let him roll again. Okay. Let him roll to me. Hopefully he rolls this way. Okay. And that's just manipulation to get him on that side of the map, so that I can more effectively exit the screen. So I shot the pillbug first, but I could have easily went for the pterodactyl instead as another option. You still want to kill the pterodactyl first, I think, because you can manipulate the pillbug way more easily to allow you to leave the screen faster. Wish this guy would come closer, instead of being a huge jerk. Alright. So I wanted to make sure I got a little bit of space there to pick up all the items here. I'm going to be going through my inventory one more time, at least. And that's to deal with the lamp key and Maeda's gun that I'm picking up. Two. Something to note about that secret passage is that it's shaped like a 7 with an angle. Like, there's the angle that makes the 7, but then there's usually kind of a curve in a 7 to show it's a 7, or an angle besides that. And that's how that hallway is kind of shaped. So what you want to do is you kind of want to hold up for maybe 2 or 3 steps, then go up left for 1 to 2. And then you'll get out. So it's a little bit more than that. I don't know the exact amounts, to be completely honest with you, but... The main thing to notice is that if you're holding just up, you won't make it out of that hallway. You'll just be running into a corner. Time for mitochondria magic to allow for the roaring of a dinosaur. So this is a hot spot, which is unfortunate. I also didn't get a ambush proc. Extra bad. Dang. This is a really bad fight also to get. Like, time consuming. So that's unfortunate. This is a guaranteed fight. Okay. Nice. And that's what I meant by sometimes it's better to do that. If you get the ambush on a group of lizards and you're close to them. If they're far away, then you're never going to be able to get the triple shot, so that kind of goes out the window. Anything else? M79 discard. M92 discard. So the only things I need right now are basically the MP5DW, the shotgun that I have, and then I'm going to get a gun off of T-Rex that is going to be crucial for the next fights. Not because of the gun, but because I'm going to break it apart and take whatever magic allows me to take 2 actions and put it into my other gun. I needed inventory space, though, to pick up my Ada's gun, which will become relevant later on in the game. Nice MacGuffin weapon. Guess it's not a MacGuffin weapon, since it's not really the goal of other characters to obtain it. Plot weapon, though. Used to pierce plot armor. shoulder's popping a lot right now. You'll notice also that, for the most part, I'm not really reloading. That's because reloading in the menu is significantly slower than just reloading in a battle. So unless you have a really specific reason why you're reloading out of battle, you shouldn't do it. Usually that means before bosses, or before a particularly difficult encounter that has a chance of killing you. Here's a guaranteed encounter. Okay, this is an encounter skip. In order to do this encounter skip, all you do is you hug the right wall. You don't hug the right wall here, then you get into an encounter with a scorpion. Okay, you know that this is going to be a fight with a boss, so you don't want to heal using anything but restorative items. You can trigger this from any part here. I actually ran a little bit too far left, but that's okay. So Triceratops. For the most part, Triceratops is fairly easy. You want to start the fight with an immediate energy shot to bypass a lot of his defense. Going to do a ton of damage to him and get him closer to his second phase. His first phase is the more dangerous one. Whenever he starts walking towards a side of the room, he's going to get ready to charge you. Charge does quite a bit of damage, and usually he chains charges together, so be prepared to dodge not just one, but a few of them. When he shoots his electricity, you want to try to be towards his left, I want to say. I believe that's correct. If you're towards his left, then the energy should circle around you, which is important. You don't want to take a billion damage. See? That's him chaining charges together. Gotta be aware of that shit. I'm on his left. That was pretty bad. Maybe it's on his right. I think I'm a little too far away from him, though. You want to be kind of... There we go. That's the sweet spot. So even though he can do collision damage with you... Okay. You really only want to use 1 to 2 hastes on him, because if you do any more than that... then you're not going to have enough to energy shot or start haste on T-Rex. You want to do one of those two things on T-Rex. Don't worry about healing after the Triceratops, you actually heal right here. You get all of your life back. If you're worried about medicine, which I'm just going to take anyway, there is a medicine 4 just above you along with some ammo. If you have full PE to start this fight, immediately use energy shot. If you don't, use haste and then save up for energy shot. Other than that, try to weather as best you can. If he uses fire, try to get behind him. If you can't get behind him, try to go to the way his tail curls to, like where the tip of his tail is. This isn't a guarantee, but more often than not, he tends to shoot his fire in such a way that it goes the other way. Other than that, staying moving is important. So always be mobile. So I don't have full PE, so I'm just going to haste. Do not be afraid of using haste a lot in this fight. It is a long fight. Don't skimp on your PE usage. Oh. Another thing, if you energy shot, make sure that you don't energy shot when he's going to flame breath you, because he will completely destroy you. Like, I still got hit by the flame breath, despite the fact that I wasn't even close to it. So yeah, expect bad hitboxes also when you're fighting this guy. Okay. I think he's close to dead, but I'm still gonna haste. Again, safety. 1, 2. That's the bite attack. Stay far away from him, because sometimes that thing will hit you for, like, no reason. Okay, after you do the fight with the T-Rex, I'm gonna take the 2 actions from it. I'm gonna take the M5000 or M500 and immediately do that. Okay, we do have Liberate. I'm gonna use a Medicine 3 here. Alternatively, you could easily use your Parasite Energy to heal. I probably should have done that, to be completely honest with you. The reason I say that is, by not using my Parasite Energy right there, I don't really need it for any of this stuff. When you have 2 actions on your gun, haste becomes way less important in the museum. And the reason for that is pretty much every encounter I can kill within 1 to 2 turns. So the haste isn't going to get much effect. Also, when you're shooting your gun, you continually regenerate your ATB. So by the time I'm done shooting 4 times, the ATB is going to be back. Yeah, that's basically 3 turns. And if I got a little luckier on positioning, I would have gotten even more. So once again, you want to hug this side so you don't trigger the fight. If you needed a revive because you lost yours, you can go through this door at the north here. It'll unlock with the clamp key. Go downstairs, and then there'll be a treasure chest with a revive in it. That one's a little less attractive to get, and the reason for that is because you get into a fight when you pick up the revive, or in that room. And that fight's pretty lengthy. You also have the potential to run into 2 additional fights via hotspot. So it's a revive that's very costly. It's going to cost you 50 seconds to like 2 minutes to get. That being said, if you did not get Liberate through this next fight, this is the last fight you can get Liberate before Eve, and that's where you need it. If you didn't get it, then you would have to go back and grind a fight anyway. So. Okay. Pure Gas Raptor. Okay. Alright, so that's the last main fight that we have to do. So after we go upstairs here, we're going to go ahead and menu, reload our gun, see if we have any BP to spend. We do not. Okay, and we don't need to heal either. Alright, so there's going to be 2 cutscenes here. There's this one and the next one. During this second one, I am going to be going to the restroom. It's fairly long, and I can do that during. So I wanted to do my menuing there, because there's a potential that you forget about it before the Eve fight, and there's absolutely nothing else to do here. You're going to get healed up for Eve, so the main thing to do is make sure that you're reloaded, make sure you used all your BP that you had available. The last menuing that I have to do is reloading before Eve, which I already did, and then possibly reloading before the Ultimate Beam. That's just kind of to preference. I don't think it's super important to do so. But if you're trying to be extremely safe, then go ahead and do so. What's up, Raz? Be back. Moment. Alright. On the end of the game. Much better run than last time. Still not great. But considering everything that's kind of gone wrong, it's still good, again. Said that about the last one as well, but this one it holds true. Let's see, so what did I have? I had 3 resets for RNG on chess. 1, 2, 3 saves. So 3 saves, 3 resets, I think. And then some terrible RNG on mixed men, I believe. Oh, and picking up extra defensive items, of course. Yeah, pretty good. This is, yes, this is prep for a marathon. I'm going to be doing this run at RPG Limit Break. So that's why I've been using a lot safer strats and making saves, for example. If I was shooting to improve my record, I cannot make saves. It's just not possible. So if we count that each of those 3 resets probably cost me about 50 seconds each. And then the bad luck on mixed men cost me that last little bit. That's 3 minutes. So then you're looking at a 350 altogether. I saved 3 times, which is another minute or so. I've had fairly poor RNG when it comes to hotspots as well. I guess what I'm getting at is if you took all the marathon stuff that I'm doing out of this is about on par with what I was performing at. There's definitely things that I'm doing worse. Like, I can see it, especially when I'm menuing stuff. But it's there, it's just... concessions that you have to make. I guess there is one other safety save that I probably should make. Now that I think about it. I probably should make a safety save after getting Clamp's key. Because once I get Clamp's key, I could take the staircase to the main hall and make a save there. And then if for some reason I wipe to Triceratops and T-Rex, then I won't lose too much time. Yeah, that's probably a good idea, actually. Yeah, the other thing, Raz, is I feel like it's even worse when you're talking about an RPG. Because oftentimes if you take a bad death in a marathon in a shorter game, it's just like, oh well, I have to use some varied strats to get myself back on track. In an RPG, if you didn't save for a while, like... like, oh, don't worry, I'm just gonna go 30 minutes over estimate. It's all good. Yeah. To be honest, Perpetual, like, I probably will implement the save, but T-Rex isn't that bad. As long as you don't put yourself in a bad flame breath position, and you didn't lose too much of your medicine to Triceratops. Like, Triceratops, I don't think I've ever died to him. He's gotten close maybe once to taking my revive. But in general, Triceratops isn't going to kill you. He's just going to drain all your medicine so that T-Rex can maybe kill you. But as long as you're playing patiently and smart, T-Rex shouldn't kill you too often. I'd say your main sources of death in this game are going to come from worms, RNG, and Centipede, and the following 2 fights after Centipede. Okay, so there is an AI manipulation here. If you move towards Eve at the very beginning of this fight, she'll go into one of several patterns. The vast majority of those patterns are favorable for you. That doesn't mean that she can't do something bad. But out of all the runs that I've done, the only time she's done a really bad pattern is when I decided not to move towards her at the beginning. And I don't remember if it was the NQW task or Puexel who put down that when you move towards her, it manipulates her AI a certain way. But it seemed to have held true pretty frequently, so... The only other thing to take care with against this Eve is try not to get grabbed. Only used haste twice. If you use it a third time, then you probably won't have enough parasite energy to cast liberation as fast as you need to in the next fight. Obviously, the last Eve is a slam dunk. Just attack once fully, and then attack with one action and cast liberate with your second on your next turn. T-Rex's homing attack. Just keep moving if you're far away. If you're close, try to stay under him, kind of. You still might get hit once, maybe twice, but it does low enough damage with Chemical Vest that it should proc your CM Vest. The Fire Breath and the Bite are the things that are the real danger in that fight. Alright, let's do it. Like I said, I'm holding up right now. Okay. So this is a little bit bad. She didn't move back. This is a slightly worse pattern, but not terrible. Did not really want to be behind her because this is a hard move to dodge. Uh-oh. Ow. ow, ow, ow. So that's why you don't want to be behind her. Hot tips. This'll kill. Once you hear her do that moan from the attack before, you know the next one's gonna kill. So, not the best fight. Try to stay in front of her. She gave me a bad pattern there, but it was definitely workable. There are worse ones that she can give you. I made a mistake there by going in behind her, like I said. That triggered a different attack from her than normal, which is unfortunate. Alright. Okay, as long as you get all of your shots off here. That'll kill. If she moves out of range of your shooting on that first attack, you might have to do another attack after this. And I think that's just crit luck more than anything else. And as you can see, because I was standing behind her, I'm going to lose quite a bit of time here. I did get grabbed, which is a time loss, but it's not that bad. This is purely just because I put myself in a negative situation. If you ever feel in danger with Eve also, don't be afraid to back off and kind of gain control of the fight again. The worst thing that you can do is get into a fight with Eve that you're not prepared to take a hit or getting grabbed multiple times. This is apparent, or this is especially apparent when you consider this next fight. Ultimate being, you want to have as much medicine as possible going into it. If you feel like you're lacking in medicine or you just want to be safe, then you want to go to the serviceman over here. Not in here. Or not out here, I should say, but inside. If for some reason you need to make a save, make sure you do the serviceman and all your menuing before it. This save is terrible, though, because if you die to the ultimate being, it's going to take you over 15 minutes to get back to where you were at, most likely. So the only time that I would recommend saving here is if it's either your first run or you're doing something for a marathon. So because I'm doing marathon safe strats, 3, 4... I'm going to talk to the serviceman. Oops. Alright. Once again, I don't need to do that, but I'm doing it for safety. Everything else is good. Yep. I don't know why I went into BP. As I mentioned, Eve can never give you BP, so... Also of note, you don't really need to reload here. And it would be faster to do it in battle. Hello, Lucky. Okay, so Phase 1. Phase 1, there is a slight variance in strats, but I don't like it. Carcinogen uses Liberate on Phase 1. I really don't like that choice, because even though it makes it so that the baby doesn't possibly get off its explosion attack, which will eat a medicine, it It also makes it so that you won't have any Parasite energy going into the next phase, and the next phase is way more dangerous than the baby. So for that reason, I use Haste. And save Liberate for Form 3. Form 3 is really the only one where Liberate is extremely useful to use. If you tried to use it in Phase 2, it would be not beneficial because Liberate chooses random targets, and there's 2 targetable opponents in that fight. So it would split the damage among them, and it would just be bad. It would also allow Form 3 to be alive longer, which is the bigger threat. So the very short of it, use Haste on Form 1, use Haste on Form 2. Form 2, be very careful about the homing shots and the melee from the ground guy. Both of those are extremely dangerous. Form 3, whenever he backs off to do his homing attack, make sure you run underneath him. Keep Haste up. Shoot him for between 5 to 8 turns, depending on your crit luck. Usually I go about 6 to 7. After 6 to 7, make sure you're pooling enough Parasite energy so that you can use Liberate immediately after. And that'll finish off Form 3. Form 4, you're just shooting him, basically. If you're low on health in Form 4, the lasers can kill you with some bad shots. So, if you find yourself at around 180 to 190 health going into Form 4, use your first action to use a healing item, and use your second action to shoot, and then continue from there. You will not be able to heal in Form 4 for the first phase because you won't have any Parasite energy, so keep that in mind. Once Form 4 changes into the next phase of it, if you have the ability to haste, do so. If not, be cautious and use your heals if need be. Wow, did I too far away? Okay, good. So Fredo's too far away there. It's okay to take that hit. See. So I didn't get enough crit luck to be able to kill him in time. But if you get good crits, you can kill him there before he gets that explosion off. He also got a pretty good ATB, which is something that you have to keep in mind also. Enemies do have ATBs, so take that into account. Okay. So this one's not so bad. Just pay attention to where he's going to shoot. Okay. Okay. Okay, this is actually pretty bad. So because of that, I'm actually going to use a medicine here because I'm in kill range for his melee. His melee can do up to 200 damage. Like 201 or something. Try to stay close to the one on the ground, though, because if he ever gets away from you, he can do his laser attack. And that's, you know, you're going to take a hit from that. I'd rather take the move that I can potentially dodge than something that I definitely will not dodge. So we lost a round there due to having to heal. Yes, if you die to like certain forms of this boss, you will lose tons of time. So his ground smash is basically almost always going to hit you at least once. But when he backs off to do this, just stay underneath him. Be ready to move. This is probably a mistake, because I don't think this is going to kill. But I'm trying to do, like... This is a safe strat, really. I'm trying to conserve my, my medicine here, so I don't want to take this hit. Also, I was at a low enough health that this might have taken my revive. I don't know the damage ranges on this move, because I so rarely see it. Okay, good. We actually did get past that form. But yeah, you definitely want to count how many rounds you're shooting, and it's between 5 to 8, like I said. Just depends on crits. Alright, so, Form 4, like I said. We're at good health, so we don't need to worry about that. But we shouldn't be flippant with our health either, especially if you don't know how many medicines you have left. You are considerably more mobile in this phase than you're going to be when you have Maeda's gun, so keep that in mind. And the reason for that is because the machine gun shoots way, way faster. So use that to your advantage. Once you get Maeda's gun, you're going to be looking to hit a haste if possible. If not, then set yourself up to be healed. It's much better to heal yourself in Phase 1 than in Phase 2 of this fight, because you have 2 actions. When Maeda's gun gets in your hand, you only have the 1. So keep that in mind if you feel like you're going to need to heal. Kill range for crystals is 190 damage. Alright. So you don't have the ability to ambush proc here, so just kind of keep on moving. The reason I used haste here, it's questionable on how much time it would save you. And if it does save time, but what it does do is it makes you more mobile, and it allows you to get your ATB faster if you need to heal. Which is important. It also lets you chase him. So in case the ultimate being gets away from you, you can quickly get back on top of him and start shooting again. So that 30-second time loss is a little bit from Ultimate Beam, but more from the save and getting the items before. We really only lost like 1. So the suggestion that I would give for people just starting this game is always let the room fully load before running here. Like, that's the best advice that I can possibly give. I don't really need to do that, because I kind of know this quite a bit. If you get to the point where you can hold a direction, though, you can save quite a bit of time, because there's a lot of screen transitions here. Okay. I guess another thing I would say is, in order to get out of the ship, the first one, at the T intersection, you want to make a left, and then here you want to make an up. So it's left and then up. The main things to remember. Should be obvious, but always make sure that you hit this control panel. If you don't, it's no bueno. Don't get scared of the monster either. I say that... Whoa. Okay, I almost just died there. Okay, don't get scared of the monster, and the reason I say that is because oftentimes, the monster is triggered from you reaching a certain part in the hall. Like, he won't enter that room until I'm around that area, so I'm actually entirely safe. Same thing here. This one, it looks like he pops right out of the door. He doesn't. It's because I reached that far on the stairs. Now, he'll move, like, you can't just sit there. He will hit you, but don't be too scared about it. So, the reason I said I almost died there was because the game looked like it freezed or something. And I was like, am I supposed to hold a direction to go up the ladder? But it actually just flipped out. So, like, I pressed up thinking I had to go up the ladder for some reason, but that wasn't the case. And if I had gone a little bit more up, I would have opened up the hatch and gotten killed. Which would not have been good. So, I guess that's something else to point out. Sometimes that happens. I thought it was supposed to just fade to black, but I guess sometimes that ladder can glitch. After that, that's basically the end of the game. After this, it's just doing the timing that kind of the community before me agreed on. At this point, there's absolutely no danger of you dying. Once you get through that submarine, or not submarine, but the battleship. However, the official timing that's been used since before I started running the game is in-game time, which is from the second that the intro movie starts playing, which is before you can even select new game, all the way until you confirm the final save, which is after the credits. So, is there any questions from Perpetual, or if she is still here, B, about the last 2 days, since I didn't really cover them? Yeah, that's fine, Perpetual. I kind of need to practice. Like, this is a very, very technical and mechanical commentary, but there are things I am going to mention when I do the run, like... There's going to be time for fun and kind of talking about the game at large and its impact and stuff like that, artistic decisions. But I am going to have mechanical things I talk about as well, so... Yeah, the thing is notes are very much like... The notes that I have there aren't 100%. I call them idiot-proof notes, and the only reason I call them idiot-proof notes is because they have, like, the directions you hold on a D-pad. Like, you cannot fail as long as you have any idea kind of where to go and what to expect. I guess I can highlight this and maybe put it on my YouTube as like a pseudo tutorial. I hesitate to call this a tutorial, but it'll give a little bit more background and insight as to why I make the decisions I make, I guess. And an idea for, like, you know, making a marathon safe run and making a safe run in general for people just learning the game. Because, I mean, look at this. We did very safe strats, in my view. And we're only, like, 8 minutes behind? Considering we had to do, again, 3 saves and 3 resets, that's... I'd say that's pretty good. I don't know if this is going to happen or not, but ideally I'd want to make a full run at 3:15 using marathon strats. Currently, I believe the run is scheduled for a 3:15, but my assumption is that the run is going to get cut for Somnem Memorias, or that isn't in the 3:15 estimate, which means that whatever I have for my final time, you would knock off like 8 minutes or so. So you can rest your hand here, but don't get too far away because once it goes back to Aya and Ben and them, you do have to mash. But the opera is always automated, so... Just reminding you once again, the king was right. I mean, should have just burned Eve at the stake. In case you're curious how I mash, for some reason, I reach around the controller like this, and I vibrate this hand. It's kind of similar to the way I shield dash in Soten. It was mentioned by, like, B or whatever that Chuck kind of mashes like this for Final Fantasy IX. I do something kind of similar for shield dashing. So once Ben talks here, that's the last text box you need to mash. So what I do for, like, Soten, for example, is I mash like this, which is the same type of thing. There's no real, like, secret to mashing technique. It's just however you feel comfortable. I find that reaching like this and vibrating like that tends to give me the most longevity in my mashing at the best speed. There's definitely times where I swap to this, though, in case I need to move around. But yeah, like I said, I'll highlight this. I'll try and highlight specific parts of it too, so I can kind of segment it. If there's anything that needs to be kind of expanded upon, though, just let me know, and I can make a quick video. But yeah, as for the thing that it seems to be giving you guys the most problems with Centipede, as I said, it's just don't get hit by poison. If you get hit by poison early, cure it. Stay on his side for phase 1. Don't get in front of him. And then when you get into phase 2, try to energy shot the tail and use an attack to kill that one and use that as a safe zone. If you don't have the ability to full energy shot, try and kill one of the tails or one of the body segments first. And that'll create, again, that safe zone. If you have to take a hit, take it from the body part if possible, not from the head or the tail. And yeah, just try and stay away from them, stay in corners. That upper left is actually extremely powerful because, as you saw, I was able to go basically into the complete background, which is nice. Maybe something I could investigate for, like, an extremely safe strat is maybe you can go into that upper left area behind the train cars and just shoot from there and kill whatever comes to the upper left. But, I'll have to investigate that another time. And that would be, like, the safest of strats. Like, Brady Games Guide style strats. Alright, guys. Enjoy some Somne Memorias. I'm gonna put some stuff inside the fridge, get some more water. Alright, see you later, Perpetual. So hopefully you guys have been enjoying this Parasite Eve run. Hopefully you're enjoying your time wherever you are at, day or night. We will continue to do runs for Parasite Eve to prep ourselves up for the marathon for RPG Limit Break. That happens in kind of like early mid-May. I'll also be participating in another marathon. Both of the informations for that are in the banners inside of the info on my Twitch page. So you can check those up and kind of backwards engineer what you need to know at any given time for this. Hopefully it's been insightful for some of the people that are just picking this up as well. All right, so let's get ready for this final split. And it's just the confirm of the save. You don't have to wait for the bar to fill up. But yeah, there's our save data. 2:33, that doesn't... The time for in-game doesn't count the times that I reset, so you have to keep that in mind. So 2:33 in-game time, 3:15:30 real time. Pretty good. Pretty good. Hmm.